The rain-slicked streets of Brooklyn blurred past as I sprinted home, my heart pounding harder than my sneakers against the pavement, clutching that damn journal like it was a live grenade. I'd left it open on the kitchen counter, pages spilling secrets I'd buried deeper than my grandma's ashes in the Hudson, while I dashed out for coffee, and now, as I burst through our apartment door, I froze. Jake, my roommate, the all-American alpha with shoulders like a linebacker and eyes that could disarm a room, was holding it, his face twisted in a storm of confusion and something sharper. Something that sliced right through me as he looked up and whispered, "Alex, what the hell is this?" I slammed the door behind me, the echo like a gunshot in our cramped two-bedroom, but it was too late. The words I'd scrawled in feverish ink about loving him, about the ache of watching him bring girls home, about being gay in a world that still felt like it might swallow me whole hung between us like smoke from a fire I couldn't put out. "Give me that," I choked out, lunging forward, but he pulled back, his free hand raking through that messy blonde hair, jaw clenched so tight I thought it might crack. In that split second, as thunder rumbled outside and the city lights flickered on like judgmental stars, I knew. My safe little life, the one where I played the straight-laced graphic designer and he the cocky firefighter, had just gone up in flames. We'd been roommates for 2 years, thrown together by a Craigslist ad and a mutual hatred for Manhattan rents. Ever since I fled the suffocating suburbs of Ohio for the promise of New York. Jake Harlan was everything I wasn't. Broad-chested, quick with a laugh that boomed like a bass drum, the kind of guy who high-fived strangers at dive bars and volunteered at the firehouse on weekends because someone's got to do it. Me, Alex Rivera, 5'10" on a good day, with wiry arms from too much keyboard pounding and a smile I practiced in the mirror to hide the loneliness. I was the quiet one, the guy who sketched logos for indie bands and binge-watched indie films, nursing crushes like houseplants in the dark. And Jake? He was straight as the Brooklyn Bridge, or so I told myself every night when the walls were thin and his dates giggled their way into his room. That journal was my confessional, started after my last breakup. A ghost of a relationship with a barista named Theo who vanished when things got real. I'd filled it with everything. The terror of coming out to my conservative family back in Cleveland, the hookups I'd fumbled through in dimly lit clubs, and yeah, page after page on Jake. How his easy grin made my chest tighten. How I'd linger in the kitchen mornings just to catch him shirtless, pouring cereal like a god among mortals. It was stupid, reckless, but writing it kept the truth from spilling out in real life. Until tonight. He tossed the journal onto the counter like it burned him, the pages fluttering open to a particularly raw entry. I wonder if he'd hate me if he knew. If he'd pack my shit and change the locks. God, Jake, you're the only one who makes this city feel like home. His eyes, those piercing blue ones that crinkled at the corners when he joked, locked on mine, and for the first time, I saw not the unbreakable alpha, but a man unraveling. "Alex," he said, voice low and gravelly, like he was talking down a suspect at a fire scene. "Is this about me? Are you gay?" The word exploded out of me, sharper than I meant, fueled by the adrenaline crash and the rain soaking through my jacket. "Yeah, Jake, I'm gay. And yeah, it's about you. Happy now? You read my diary like some high school bully. What? You bored between saving kittens from trees?" He flinched, stepping back until his hips hit the fridge, the magnets of old takeout menus rattling. "I wasn't snooping, man. You left it right there, open. I thought it was a grocery list or something." A bitter laugh escaped him, but it died quick, replaced by a furrow in his brow that deepened the lines from too many sleepless shifts. "Why didn't you say anything? 2 years, Alex. We share beers, we trash-talk the Knicks, hell, I thought we were brothers." Brothers. The word landed like a punch to the gut, twisting the knife of unrequited everything. I slid down the cabinets, the linoleum cold against my back, and buried my face in my hands. The rain pattered against the window like applause for my humiliation. "Because brothers don't make you feel like this?" I muttered, the truth slipping free now that the dam was broken. "Like you're the sun and I'm just orbiting, pretending." Silence stretched, thick and suffocating, broken only by the distant wail of sirens. Ironic, since Jake was the one who usually ran toward the chaos. When he finally spoke, his voice was softer, stripped of its usual bravado. I don't know what to say. This is a lot. He crouched down in front of me, close enough that I could smell his soap, pine and smoke, the scent that haunted my dreams. His hand hovered near my shoulder, then dropped. But I don't hate you. Jesus, Alex, how could I? I risked a glance up, and there it was. Not disgust, not rejection, but a flicker of something raw, vulnerable. Confusion, maybe, or curiosity. It was enough to make my pulse stutter, enough to fan the embers of hope I'd long since tried to smother. But hope's a dangerous thing in a storm like this. As he stood and paced the tiny kitchen, muttering about needing air, I wondered if this was the end, or the terrifying beginning. The next morning dawned gray and unforgiving, the kind of New York winter light that seeped through the blinds like bad news. I woke on the couch, neck crick-necked from the throw pillow, the journal mocking me from the coffee table where I'd left it, half tucked under a pizza box, as if cardboard could hide a soul laid bare. Jake's door was cracked open, his bed unmade, but he was already gone. A note on the fridge in his blocky scrawl. Shift starts early. We talk later. Coffee's on. Simple words, but they carried the weight of an ultimatum. I poured a mug, black and scalding, and stared out at the fire escape where icicles clung like frozen tears. My phone buzzed. Text from my sister Mia back in Ohio. Mom's asking when you're visiting. Don't ghost us, loser. If only she knew the real ghosting I was doing to myself. I'd come out to her last year, in a tearful FaceTime after too much wine, and she'd hugged the screen like she could teleport across states. Love's love, Alex. Just find your person. Easy for her to say, married to her high school sweetheart in a picket fence life. Me? I'd built walls higher than the Empire State, brick by brick of fear and failed dates. Work dragged that day, freelance deadlines for a craft beer label, pixels blurring as my mind replayed the night. Jake's shock, the way his Adam's apple bobbed when he swallowed hard. By evening, I was a wreck, pacing our living room with its mismatched thrift store furniture. The sagging leather couch we'd scored at a stoop sale, the bookshelf crammed with his firefighting manuals and my dog-eared Vonnegut paperbacks. When the door finally creaked open at 8 p.m., admitting the chill and Jake's exhausted frame, I nearly bolted. He shrugged off his jacket, the FDNY patch gleaming under the lamp, and fixed me with that steady gaze. Hey! One word, but it unlocked something. I nodded, throat dry, and we migrated to the couch like actors in a play we'd never rehearsed. Beers cracked open, his ritual after a shift, and the silence built until he shattered it. I thought about it all day, at the house between calls. Pulled a cat from a storm drain, sprayed a dumpster fire. Kept seeing your words in the smoke. I winced, sipping to buy time. Sorry. For dumping it on you like that. Nah. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, the veins in his forearms standing out like rivers on a map. I'm the one who read it. Should have minded my business. A pause, heavy as the snow starting to dust the window. But Alex, it's not just the gay part. Is you thinking I'd kick you out? Like I'm some asshole who can't handle real shit. You're not. The admission burned, but it was true. Jake had been my anchor in this city. Dragging me to Yankees games when I moped, splitting Ubers after late nights at the bar down the block. It's me. Growing up in that house, Dad quoting Bible verses at dinner, Mom pretending it was all fine. I learned to hide. He nodded slow, processing. My old man was the same. Marine, tough as nails. Never said it outright, but you knew. Be a man or else. His laugh was hollow. Ran from Jersey to this. He gestured vaguely at the skyline beyond our walls. Then quieter. But you're my family here, man. This changes things, yeah. But not that. Changes things. The phrase echoed, stirring a dangerous warmth in my chest. We talked then. Really talked. For hours, beers turning to whiskey as the snow piled up. About his ex, Sarah, who bailed because firefighting's no life for a family. About my fleeting flings, the ones that fizzled in the morning light. Laughter crept in, tentative, when he admitted peeking at my sketches once and thinking, damn, kid's got talent. By midnight, the air felt lighter, charged with an undercurrent I couldn't name, as he clapped my shoulder, firm, lingering, and headed to bed, saying night, roomie. I lay awake, heart racing, wondering if the grenade had disarmed or just pulled its pin. But secrets have a way of multiplying. The next week blurred into a fragile normalcy. Shared grocery runs to the bodega on the corner, where Mrs. Patel teased us about being such cute bachelors. Movie nights with takeout Ty, his arms slung casual over the couch back, inches from mine. Yet every brush of fingers over the remote, every shared glance over bad subtitles, ignited sparks. I caught him watching me. Subtle, like when I stretched after a long day, or hummed off key to the radio. Was it pity, curiosity, or something that mirrored the longing in my gut? It peaked one Friday, post-shift glow on him as we hit O'Malley's, the Irish pub where firefighters held court. The place thrummed with laughter, foam-flecked pints, the jukebox crooning Springsteen. Jake's buddies ribbed him about a mystery save that day, a kid from a car wreck, and he waved it off, blue eyes catching mine across the sticky table. Alex, here's the hero, he joked, slinging an arm around me. Design's labels so good. Even I drink the fancy IPAs now. The touch lingered, his thumb absent-mindedly tracing my shoulder blade through my shirt. Heat flooded me and I played it cool, clinking glasses, but inside, chaos. Later, stumbling home tipsy under street lamps haloed in fog. He stopped short at our stoop, breath clouding the air. You know, he said, voice rough from the night, I've been thinking about what you wrote. Not in a weird way, just brave. Being that open, even on paper. My heart hammered. Brave or stupid? Both. He stepped closer, the space between us shrinking to nothing, his cologne mixing with the crisp bite of winter. For a heartbeat, I thought, hoped he'd lean in, bridge the gap with lips that promised everything. But he pulled back, ruffling my hair like a kid brother. Get some sleep, Alex. Big day tomorrow. Tomorrow was the holiday market in Prospect Park, our annual tradition. Mulled wine, handmade ornaments, the city's pulse in festive chaos. I crashed hard that night, dreams tangled with what-ifs. Woke to the smell of bacon, Jake whistling in the kitchen, back to broad-shouldered normal. But the undercurrent hummed, a live wire waiting for a storm. The market was a whirlwind of lights strung like stars against bare branches. Vendors hawking wool scarves and spiced nuts. Families bundled against the chill. Jake navigated the crowds with his easy stride, haggling over a wooden puzzle for his niece back in Jersey. While I snapped photos for my Insta, artsy shots of gingerbread houses and twinkling booths. You're such a hipster, he teased, stealing a bite of my pretzel, salt dusting his lips. We wandered deeper, past a brass band belting Jingle Bell Rock, until we found a quiet corner by the lake, ice skaters gliding like ghosts on the frozen surface. He bought us hot cider, steam rising like secrets, and we sat on a bench, shoulders touching. This time last year, he said, staring out at the skaters. I was miserable. Sarah gone, work kicking my ass. Then you dragged me here, made me try that go-doffel eggnog. I chuckled, the memory warm. You puked on the subway after. Worth it. His gaze shifted to me, intense, unguarded. You're good for me, Alex. Steady. The word hung, heavy with layers. My pulse thrummed. Yeah, even with everything. Especially with. His hand found mine on the bench, deliberate, fingers lacing slow and sure. The world narrowed, the laughter fading, the cold forgotten. As he turned my palm up, tracing the lines like he was reading a map to buried treasure. I've been scared too, you know, of this. He nodded at our joined hands. But reading that journal flipped a switch, made me see you, really see. Couldn't breathe. Jake! Shoo! He leaned in, forehead to mine, breath mingling. I'm not straight as an arrow, Alex. By maybe, hell labels suck. But you've been right here, under my nose. His lips brushed my temple, soft as snowfall, and I melted into it, the kiss tentative at first, then deepening with the pent-up ache of years. Cider forgotten, the park spun around us, but in that moment, it was just us. Two hearts colliding in the winter light. We pulled apart, dazed, grins breaking like dawn. "Took you long enough?" I whispered, and he laughed, that booming sound that echoed home. Hand in hand, we wove back through the crowds, the city alive with possibility. That night, back in the apartment, we talked till dawn. Not about the journal, but futures. Trips to the Grand Canyon, adopting a dog from the shelter, building a life beyond roommates. Felt real, fragile as fresh snow, but ours. Little did I know, the storm was just gathering force. The glow of that kiss carried us through December like a secret flame. New Year's Eve found us on our rooftop, bottle rockets popping over the skyline. His arms wrapped around me from behind as we counted down with the masses on TV. "To us," he murmured against my neck, and I believed it. Believed in the curve of his smile, the way he'd text me dumb memes during shifts, the quiet mornings where he'd pull me close in bed, no pretenses left. We'd upgraded from roommates to something unspoken but solid. Lovers, tentative explorers in uncharted territory. But New York doesn't let you coast. Work piled on. My freelance gigs exploding with holiday branding. Jake's shifts stretching into overtime as blizzards blanketed the boroughs. We stole moments. A stolen lunch at the deli, where he'd feed me falafel under the table. Lazy Sundays sketching while he napped, head in my lap. My journal gathered dust, its pages now relics of a loneliness I'd outrun. I even called Mia, gushing about someone special. Her squeals echoing through the line like victory bells. Yet cracks spiderwebbed beneath the surface. Jake's buddies at the firehouse started side-eyeing him. Whispers after our first public handhold at O'Malley's, where Mike, his best mate since the academy, clapped too hard on his back and muttered, "You good, bro? This a phase or what?" Jake brushed it off, but I saw the tension in his shoulders, the way he'd down shots faster, laugh louder to drown it out. "They're just adjusting," he'd say, pulling me into a hug that smelled of diesel and doubt. Give it time. I wanted to believe him. God, I did. But doubt's a thief stealing sleep in the witching hours. One night, mid-January, a call yanked him from our bed at 2 a.m. A warehouse blaze in Red Hook, the kind that chews through steel. I paced the apartment, tracking updates on my phone, heart in my throat until his key turned at dawn, soot-streaked and hollow-eyed. "Everyone okay?" I asked, wrapping him in a blanket. "Yeah." But his voice cracked as he sank onto the couch, head in hands. "Lost a guy tonight. Rookie. Thought we had him." The words hung heavy as ash. I held him then, his tears soaking my shirt, body shaking with the weight of what he carried. Firefighting wasn't glory. It was ghosts, the ones that followed you home. "I can't lose you too," he whispered, clinging like I was his lifeline. "Not now. You won't." I kissed his temple, tasting salt. That vulnerability bound us tighter, or so I thought. Nights of whispered confessions, his fingers tracing my scars. Literal from a childhood bike wreck, figurative from years in the closet. We even met his sister, Lena, over dim sum in Chinatown. She hugged me fierce, whispering, "He smiles different with you. Keep him honest." Spring teased early that year, crocuses pushing through concrete cracks as March melted into April. We planned a getaway, nothing fancy, just a weekend in the Catskills. Cabin rental with a view of the Hudson Valley. "No signals, no drama," Jake declared, packing his duffel with that boyish grin. The drive up was all golden light and classic rock. His hand on my thigh as we wound through hills greening with promise. The cabin was rustic heaven. Stone fireplace, loft bed overlooking pines. A porch swing where we sipped wine and watched fireflies wink like stars fallen low. That first night, embers crackling, he pulled me down beside him on the rug, bodies fitting like puzzle pieces long separated. "I love you," he said, the words tumbling out soft and sure, eyes reflecting the flames. Scary as hell, but true. My response was a kiss that said everything. Gratitude, fear, joy tangled in one. We made love slow, reverent, the world outside fading to whispers. Mornings blurred into hikes along misty trails, where he'd hoist me over streams, laughing when I yelped. Afternoons reading aloud from my battered copy of The Great Gatsby, his voice wrapping around Fitzgerald's prose like smoke. It was perfect, the kind of interlude that tricks you into forever. On the drive back, windows down, wind whipping our hair, he cranked the radio. Bruce Springsteen wailing about Thunder Roads, and shouted over the chorus. "This is it, Alex. You and me against the city." I believed him, fingers intertwined over the gearshift, the skyline rising like a challenge we'd conquer together. But perfection's a lie we tell ourselves. Back in Brooklyn, reality crashed in waves. Jake's shifts amped up. Budget cuts meant longer hours, more risks. I'd wait up, sketching by lamplight, anxiety gnawing like an old wound. One evening, he came home late, reeking not of smoke but cologne. Someone else's, sharp and unfamiliar. "Rough night?" I asked, casual as I could, stirring pasta on the stove. He nodded, avoiding my eyes, stripping off his jacket. "Training drill. New guys got questions." But his laugh was forced, and when he kissed my cheek, quick, distracted, it landed like a question mark. I let it slide, chalking it up to fatigue, but the seed planted doubt, sprouting thorns. Weeks later, the bloom came ugly. I'd been at a client meeting in Midtown, pitching logos for a queer-owned bookstore, when my phone lit up, unknown number, a voicemail that froze my blood. "Alex? It's Mike. Look, I hate being the one, but Jake's at the bar. With her, Sarah. And it's not just catching up." The pause stretched, heavy with implication. "Thought you should know." The subway ride home was hell. Crowded car. My reflection in the window a ghost of betrayal. O'Malley's loomed, neon sign buzzing like a swarm. I pushed through the door, the familiar din hitting me. Clinking glasses, darts thunking. That same jukebox now mocking with a country ballad about cheating hearts. There, in our booth, the one scarred with initials from 100 nights, sat Jake, Sarah across from him, her red hair cascading like a flag of surrender. She leaned in, hand on his arm, laughing at something he said, his head thrown back in that easy way I'd thought was mine alone. I turned to bolt, but Mike caught my eye from the bar, nodding grim. Too late. Jake spotted me, face draining of color. "Alex?" He stood, chair scraping. But I was already moving, words a blur. "Enjoy your trip down memory lane." Outside, the April rain slicked the sidewalk, matching the burn in my chest. He caught me at the corner, grabbing my arm. "Wait, it's not what it looks like." I whirled, rain blurring vision. "Then what is it, Jake? Enlighten me." Sarah showed up, out of nowhere, said she misses the life, the team. His eyes pleaded, water streaking his face. Rain or tears, I couldn't tell. We talked, that's all. I told her about us. And the word cracked like thunder. She didn't take it well, called it a phase. He stepped closer, desperate. "But you're not. This isn't. I swear." I wanted to believe. God. The pull was visceral, but the image seared. Her hand on him, his laugh for her. "You let her touch you. In our spot." It was nothing. Frustration edged his voice, the alpha cracking. "You're twisting it." Twisting. Laughter bubbled, bitter. "I trusted you. After everything, the journal, the fear. And you go running back to safe." He recoiled, hurt flashing. "That's not fair. I'm trying here. The guys, my family, they're side-eyeing, questioning. Sarah's easy, yeah. But she's not you." The admission hung, a half-truth laced with poison. Then why meet her? Why not tell her to fuck off? Silence. Then quiet. Because part of me wondered if this us is real or if I'm just lost. The gut punch doubled me over. Lost. After the Catskills, the "I love you"s, the promises. Rain hammered down, soaking us through. "Go back inside, Jake. Figure your shit out. I'm done orbiting." I walked away, his calls fading into the storm. The apartment waited empty when I got home. His duffel gone. A note on the counter. "Need space." And Mike's. We'll talk. Space. The word echoed my journal's fears, the ones I'd burned in that rooftop fire of hope. Days bled into a numb routine. Work as distraction, takeout as company, the bed vast and cold. Mia called, sensing the fracture. Come home, Alex. Ohio's got pie and no drama. But running wasn't me anymore. I texted Jake once. Miss you, but trust's broken. No reply. Whispers from mutual friends trickled in. Sarah sniffing around, Jake dodging shifts, burying in the bottle. The climax hit on a muggy May night, sirens wailing as thunder rolled in from Jersey. I was sketching at the kitchen table, half a bottle of Merlot deep, when the door flew open. Not Jake, but Mike, drenched and wild-eyed. Alex, this is bad. Warehouse fire, same spot as January. Jake's inside. Collapsed beam. They're pulling him out. The world tilted. I grabbed keys, bolting into the downpour. Mike's truck screeching toward Red Hook. The scene was apocalypse. Flames licking the sky, hoses arcing water like futile prayers, firefighters silhouetted against hell. I shoved through the crowd, yelling Jake's name, until a soot-blackened captain grabbed me. You family! Everything, I gasped. Then there, stretchered out, oxygen mask fogged, but alive. His eyes fluttered open, finding mine through the chaos. Alex! I dropped beside him, hand on his chest, feeling the ragged rise and fall. Idiot! Don't you dare leave me. Paramedics loaded him, sirens wailing as they sped to the ER. I followed in Mike's truck, rain blurring taillights, prayers I'd abandoned years ago tumbling silent. Hours in the waiting room. Sterile white walls, coffee like motor oil, Mike pacing with apologies. Should have told you sooner about Sarah. He shut down after. Betrayal layered on betrayal, but forgiveness flickered. Mike was the brother Jake needed when I couldn't be. Dawn broke as the doctor emerged. Concussion. Burns minor. Smoke inhalation. He'll recover. Relief crashed, tears hot. In the room, Jake looked small. Tubes snaking, bruises blooming. But his grip on my hand was iron. I'm sorry, he rasped, voice gravel. Sarah was a ghost. Panicked. The pressure, the job, the labels. Thought going back proved I was normal. But normal's a cage. You're my way out. I traced his knuckles, bruised but whole. You almost died proving it. Worth the wake-up. A weak smile. Love you, Alex. For real this time. No phases. The words mended something shattered. We talked then, raw, unfiltered, about therapy for his PTSD shadows, about coming out to his dad, about building walls that let light in. Mike visited. Awkward bro hug ceiling packs. You two are endgame. Don't fuck it up. Sarah faded to a text apology Jake deleted unread. Recovery was slow. Weeks of me playing nurse, spooning soup, binging The Office reruns as he mended. Spring bloomed full, cherry blossoms dusting our walks in the park, tentative steps toward trust rebuilt brick by careful brick. One evening, sunset painting the bridge gold, he stopped me on the promenade. Marry me? Not a ring. Just him on one knee in jeans, eyes earnest. Not today, but someday. Say yes. Laughter bubbled. Free. Yes, 1,000 times. It wasn't fairy tale perfect. Scars lingered. His from flames, mine from firestorms of the heart. But in the humanism of it all, we learned. Love isn't absence of betrayal, but choosing each other through the wreckage. Jake proposed for real that fall, ring simple silver, atop the Empire State, city sprawling below like our shared future. We said vows in a backyard ceremony, Mia officiating with tears, Mike best man with toasts that roasted us gentle. No grand gestures, just us. Two New Yorkers, gay and proud, alpha and artist, weaving a life from threads of forgiveness and fire-forged steel. Years on, with a rescue pup named Ember and a loft in Williamsburg, I flipped through that old journal. Not with shame, but gratitude. Spilled secrets, yes, but birthed truths. And in Jake's arms, under stars smudged by city glow, I know. Everything changed overnight, but the best stories simmer slow, enduring like the skyline we call home.